the moment that we are born as an I, we are not completely that wholeness from that perspective. And there is purpose to that. It's not like it happened by accident, and it's not like it was wrong that it happened that way. That is exactly what it is to be human and to have an opinion, a perspective. That is our birth date, our birthplace, what makes us, that is our uniqueness. All of these expressions are exactly what is supposed to happen so that I, me, you can have our own unique journey. That begins our outbound journey from the center of all things, from the center of truth, from the center of this life, from the center of moving away from your home or the home of your parents or your birth country, any of those things that began in a certain way and are now there to give you possibility, choice, and movement of your own accord, activity, that has now begun your outbound journey. So at some point, we began that outbound journey of the discovery of wisdom or individual lifetimes, or this incredible, however big and long journey is that we have all been on. So this then same similar diagram, here we are in the center of all things. The journey from 0 to 1 is a very, very short distance. The journey from 1 or I to I am, or I am becoming, or I want to explore, or I want to be a spiritual person, or I want to be an astronaut, or whatever it is, goes here to the outer part of that sphere or circle. This is our outbound journey, or the beginning of it, of moving away from wholeness, or so we think. So the part of us that is I, that is sometimes described as the ego or the mind, and we have really vilified this. You know, it's really important that we take that back, because this is really the only way that we could know or could have known this world that we live in, this beautiful earth that we experience, all of the many ways that we have invented and reinvented ourselves and made choices. The only way all of these things could have happened is to move from that center of awareness, from where we were everything but could not experience these things as an I or as an individual, or we could not be unique. We could not be artists and poets and writers and scientists, or know ourselves to be this way, unless we had undertaken this journey. The further we move away from the center, if we allow the I to become a stronger I, a capital I instead of a lowercase I, this is where we come in touch with, you know, what we call forgetting, or we could say unconsciousness. And it wasn't always like that. We were conscious when we first moved away from the center of being outward in order to have these I experiences. We were very conscious that that's what we were doing. I am going to have this experience, then I am going to return to the center and be wholeness again and have this great experience to share with everyone and everything. And we will all share in that experience. So when we return to that wholeness, everything had that wonderful explosion of experience. But at a certain point, this I that went out to here decided that wasn't far enough, or that wasn't enough of a unique experience, or I want another one, and I want another one right now. You know, I don't want to go back and share my experience first. This is wonderful. This is so much fun. I love being in a human body. Look, I can be an I and just feel like it's just for me, and I don't have to share it. And so all of these unique parts of us were born, and we're so happy to have these experiences that we had not had before, and we wanted more. We wanted more of these. So then we decided to go, instead of just outs, let's say if this was a wheel or spoke, or the wheel of karma, dharma, whatever you want to call it, we decided to have many more of these. And so imagine us going around like in an orbit, around and around and around, without necessarily coming back to the center and remembering, oh, I'm not just an I, I'm not just a we, I'm all of it. I'm wholeness. I'm aware of everything all at once. We became very enthralled and attached to being this I, and saying, now I'm an astronaut, now I'm an engineer, now I'm an artist, now I want to have extreme wealth, now I want to give it all away, now I want to be a gardener, now I want to feed the world, now I want to do anything else. And we were so much into this idea of being able to be and do everything that we went around and around and around and around for so many lifetimes that most of us just forgot where home was, or there's this memory of home, there's this an idea of home, but it's stayed in there more like, yeah, there was something like that. I think it was my ancestors knew something like that. I think there was at some point a mystical path that I don't know about now. I think there was a religion that no longer exists where people knew how to do that. You know, there's Stonehenge there. And I think way back then they had knowledge that we didn't have. And so we have these ideas within us that all these things that we've just forgotten something, and we need to remember it or be reminded by it, or awaken ourselves, or find a missing ingredient, the holy grail, the whatever it is, so that we can remember it. And so now this time that we're in, that we talked about earlier, where the elements are telling us, hey, remember, you used to be able to have command of the elements or extinguish fires with being in balance with things. You could do this long ago. And so we have crop circles coming up for those that are very into that, and saying, here's your reminder of how we used to communicate in different ways, by symbols. You didn't need a language. You didn't need so many different earth languages or explanations. The symbol itself awoke or rebalanced these things. So we have all these things coming, springing to life right now, to tell us, to remind us, to bring us back to being. And so we see that in this world that we're in, we are waking up, waking up, and remembering and reminding ourselves and finding this direct path back. And then, yes, we can't kid ourselves. There are, and has always been, a larger part of the world that isn't going to wake up right now, doesn't want to. It's not their time. It just isn't. And so they will continue to be how they are and do what they do, whether it appears to be destructive or unconscious or greedy or all of these things. They're still playing and play acting at, this is my world and I can do whatever I want with it. These are my resources and I can, own them or pretend to own them if I want to. And so this is our world right now. It's our world of waking up and our realizations. And for some of us, our journey back, and others are still on their way around and around, whether we want to call it a roller coaster, an orbit, and that is part of being human. It's all part of it. And if you take it all together, and if we could see it all as one big, wonderful picture, it would look like it was in balance or coming together. But when we look at it from this point of view that we're doing now, from this time is short, And I want to get back to the center now, because I think that another world might be created, or there might be a bigger, better, simpler, more loving game to play, because I'm tired of this one now and I want to get to the center. Then that's what awakening and the path of wisdom, direct wisdom, looks like to us right now. So if you are someone who, like me, is interested in this direct path, the way, the wisdom path, the direct path, what you are saying by that is, I've played this game long enough. It was fun for a while. I learned a lot. I had many, many experiences. And now I would like to experience something else. Now I would like depth, or the journey back from one, or I, to zero, to wholeness. And there are places that we visit on the way back to zero or wholeness. If you think about our journey outward, it has been 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So everything we do on the outbound journey is what we could also call the path of accumulation. We're accumulating merit. We're also accumulating stuff, ideas, thoughts, belief systems, ideologies, lifetimes, preferences, karma. The path of accumulation, we have accumulated everything we can think of. And we can think about it, if you like, is in terms of numbers, 1, however many zeros you want to add to that, however millions of lifetimes, billions, trillions, whatever numbers there are. And if you think about it, it's 1, or I, and following that is, here's one version of wholeness, 0. Here's another lifetime, or another version of wholeness, another 0. Another belief system, added another 0. Another strong opinion or judgment, here's another 0. So all of these things that we have accumulated on our path now, it's like a comet's tail, a long, long string of zeros following the I. The path to get back home, if we want to call it that, or to the center, is simply dropping the zeros. Drop the ideas, drop the opinions, drop the judgments, drop, what I need to have to call this a happy life. The more of that we literally drop, and I'm making it sound very simple here, and aware that it's not that simple. If someone said to me something as simple as, hey, drop your morning cup of coffee, I'm already arguing with you. But wait a minute, how about a half a cup? How about decaf? How about whatever? So, we say, sure, just drop it, But this journey that we have been on has been a lives long accumulation of everything, including a lot of good things. And so the mind will start its games and start to argue, well, can I keep my good experience? Can I just get rid of my, bad karma? Or, yeah, I said I was sorry and I asked for forgiveness, so can I drop that many zeros? And so there's all these little gamesmanship and everything that we do that we'll see. But really what we're doing when we want to, because we want to, is we want this direct path of wisdom now, because we are awake, and because we have now recognized that we have already had pretty much all the experiences that we want to have. We have been and done and said and explored, and this world is kind of nearly complete now. We want to write another story now. We want to write a different story. So we have to let this story gently or abruptly or hopefully gracefully come to an end and create a new story. And so we can do that through this path of wisdom, but we really need to kind of be done with this old story.